Uh, Next item is the consent agenda. Do any commissioners?
Roll call.
Oh, roll call. I'm sorry. Okay. How about roll call?
Eric Dowd is absent. Kim McGee here. Mark Mahoney.
Here.
John Williams.
Here.
Heather McDonald.
Here.
Jess Pedersen is absent.
Okay, now the next item is the consent agenda. Do any commissioners have comments on the meeting minutes from April 4th, 2024?
I make a motion, we approve the minutes from April.
I second the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All against? The motion passed unanimously. Right. Is there anyone in person or online that has any comments they would like to make that are not on the agenda? Okay. The next item on the agenda is the CLG OTR Design Guidelines RFP draft. Does staff have a presentation? Tell me, do we want to review that?
Yeah, so I can just give you guys some quick background on what we changed. Thank you for the comments at the last meeting. Appreciated. I think I captured them all. I may have missed something, but I think I captured them all. So
Does staff have a presentation? Tell me, want to review that?
yeah, so
Like this again. Sorry.
What was that?
We had this last time. Okay.
her web browser for whatever reason like auto plays
Yes.
YouTube?
I had that corrected. but-
And so
Whoa.
like the YouTube video started just playing. Yeah. I think it's you, Kim. You're now 2 for 2 on that happening. Ellie, yeah, true.
I thought I had.
So anyway, so I think we captured each of the items. I made a few changes in the background and objectives to kind of better highlight some of the existing zoning map as attachment A, the existing design guidelines as attachment B. So giving potential respondents that information right away. We still have a couple outstanding questions in the scope of services, such as, periodic meetings with the planning department staff. Do we think that should be monthly or every other month? Didn't know if you guys cared about what that frequency was. And then, the other big question was really on the developing of materials for and participation in community outreach events. I wasn't sure how involved the Historic Preservation Commission wanted to be. Was it the expectation that you guys would generally staff a lot of the outreach events, or do you want that to be the consultant? It's pretty helpful because it's going to help the consultant determine how much of their staff time they need to commit to physically running the community outreach events. And then within the required content, I made some changes, and thank you, Heather, for your comments. I reread that and I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff can get lost in there. So I tried to categorize things a little bit. I tried to provide a little more information on the project timeline, the requirement for grant compliance, and also, you know, the cost proposal highlighting the town got a CLG grant award of $24,870. I didn't think it was necessary to include a total not to exceed budget because we haven't really defined that just yet. We do have funds available, as you guys saw in the memo, that could be allocated to this project if responses come back in excess of what we think they might be, or if we want a consultant to do additional things. But I didn't know if that's something that we wanted to put a cap on. So hopefully that kind of summarizes some of the changes to the design guideline or to the RFP. And for the sake of not overwhelming with pages, I left kind of the sample contract out and the actual design guidelines, but we'll include that in the RFP when that goes out to the public. So, you know, if you guys want to chat about it, we're happy to. Otherwise, if you think this is good as is, let us know, and we're happy to get this posted and out to the public for 30 days and hopefully get people to respond prior to your June meeting so we can discuss responses at your June meeting.
Are you gonna send it out to other like firms, or are you just gonna post on there and hopefully people will look at it?
Both.
Mhm.
So we're gonna post it and cross our fingers and toes. But we will send it out to the consultants that we have already approached when we got quotes. So I think there were 3 firms that expressed some level of interest in participating. We'll send it to them. We'll also send it to some of the other ones that at the time said, we're not really sure. So we'll send it out to a few that we know might be interested, but always happy to get more suggestions on firms to solicit, for lack of better terms. But yeah, it will be available on our website if other firms
Okay.
come across it.
Okay.
I had a question about the June 5th
Mhm.
deadline for that. Did I read that right, that they need to submit a proposal by June 5th?
Yeah, that's 30 days.
Yeah, that seems kind of quick.
So I would say it's pretty standard practice for RFPs to give people 30 days to respond.
Is it?
A lot of the stuff that we have in here, qualified firms are gonna have a lot of that stock information about their firm and who's gonna respond. And so there's a lot of stuff that is very plug and play regardless of what they're responding to. But yeah, 30 days is kind of the industry standard. I think there were a few reasons why we picked June 5th. One, it was a few days in advance of your guys' next
A day
preservation
ahead.
meeting. What's that?
A day ahead.
A day ahead. So did I? I thought he did it on the Tuesday and then the meeting was on.
No, June 5th is for Wednesday.
Okay. I did it a day ahead. We gave ourselves a lot of wiggle room there.
I mean, do
we
you want to
could-
just do it to Monday? So
We
you-
we could move it up to a Monday to give ourselves time. That way we can get responses, review them, and share them with the commission for you guys to review prior to the meeting. That would be fine.
Well, I like the whole thing, everything. I would like to see more somewhere in there. I'm not sure how you would want to do it. Make OTR more, wants to be more pedestrian friendly because of its proximity to downtown and easier, a little denser, populated through more easier ADUs. Basically, those 2 concepts. It would be nice to get that a little more front and center somehow or another. Would be my only comments to it. Otherwise, it looked just fine to me.
But is the RFP the proper place to be addressing those? Or do those come after the RFP is
Yeah,
awarded and we start discussing the goals?
yeah. Let them know that's one of our things.
We can take a look. I think there might be some opportunities to, especially in the background and objectives, to maybe discuss how the guidelines need to respond to some of the larger town-wide initiatives
Yeah,
that promote walkability, bikeability, support some of those other plans that we're working on, and then how they would respond to where we talk about just design in general, but ADUs, both attached and detached, and how those are handled. I think we can probably strengthen some language in the
good.
background just so that a consultant knows that that's a key concept that we want to make sure the guidelines address.
Jared, do we need to let you know about this periodic meetings with plan department staff to review project progress? Did you want us to?
If you guys
Do
have an
we-
opinion based on, your experience, we'd love to hear it. On other projects, I've had monthly or bi-monthly check-ins with the consultant. I just wasn't sure if that's something that, and then typically we share that back with the boards and commissions that are handling the studies. So I didn't know if you guys felt that you would want kind of monthly updates from us as this project progresses, or if you felt bi-monthly would be bi-monthly every other month. It's twice a month.
Either one is fine.
Semi-monthly,
On occasion?
From
seldom, no.
From time to time.
That's something we can just leave it as periodic
Okay.
and just let the consultant respond and say,
Yeah,
here's what we think's appropriate given a project of this scale and scope.
I think that's probably the best thing to do, because they
Okay.
might actually do like 6 over like the whole year, and they might just do like
Okay.
once a month. We never know.
And then I see we've got highlighted develop materials for and participate in a community outreach event. So we need to let you know if we want the consultant to develop those materials.
I think the consultant, we're going to task them with really the developing of the materials. But as far as participating in the community outreach events, do you as a commission want to be very involved? Where maybe that participation in community outreach events that changes to, support versus lead participation? Or do we want the consultant to really be the lead and then the Historic Preservation Commission provides more of the support, if that makes sense?
yeah, I see them coming in and do a presentation, them leading it, and us, the town and preservation kind of leading the public meeting and hearing what they have to say.
Mhm.
Their presentation. So, and whether it should probably be a time other than our regularly scheduled meetings, sometime that kind of suits better for the general public to show up. Because I'm anticipating filling this room up with people who want to hear about it.
Does that work for everyone else?
Yeah,
Okay.
because we definitely want to be involved,
Yeah, for sure.
but we don't want to be the ones developing the content.
No.
So if they can get it started,
We'll
we'll
introduce
be
them.
there.
We'll introduce them. Tell them to throw their. Okay,
that's the exact feedback I was hoping to hear. So
Good.
yeah, that's direction I can make sure is reflected here, and that will help a
Yeah,
consultant say, okay, here's how much I have to
yeah,
allocate time, resources, and charge the project to do that. So that's great feedback.
All right, so do we need to approve?
You
the
do have in your
draft?
notes or the comments on here saying that if we want to staff a booth for First Fridays, yes.
So
I just don't know if we want to do it every single First Friday, because it's probably gonna end up being like August is gonna be the more like kickoff, I think.
So that was just kind of as a example of what a community outreach event could be, right? It could be setting up a booth at a First Friday, similar to what, the Highway 133 age-friendly Carbondale study did and what MAP Carbondale did last fall, winter, and just say, hey, here's another point where the community is already there, where you're kind of introducing and discussing OTR. But yeah, I do expect that given the narrowness of this design guidelines, there's also going to be very pointed outreach to residents in the OTR and probably specific events and meetings, whether that's here or the library or Third Street Center, something where it's going to be some feedback, some interaction with them. So that was just kind of an example versus every First Friday.
Okay.
I can see doing one First Friday just to kind of let the general public, everybody else know that this is more OTR specific and let them know what's going on with that. But the majority of the public outreach would be through these presentations by
The focus groups.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I'm assuming it's gonna be something similar to when they were doing, what do we want to do with the town lots? The center lots, when Kathleen and Lauren were out there on a June
Mm-hmm.
First Friday. Got a lot of people, and a lot of traffic that day.
Yeah, I would anticipate, that there'll definitely be things like that for First Friday. Maybe there's one at the very outset to just kind of introduce the topic as recommendations start to come to light. Maybe there's another one. Maybe that's, early spring or something like that as the final recommendations are coming out to kind of let the public know again, hey, here's what we discovered. Here's what we're recommending, give people an opportunity to comment. So I could see a similar path to the town center.
Okay, or like an open house at Third Street.
Mhm.
on a night.
Mhm.
So do we need to approve this draft, Jared? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we need a formal approval, but if you guys feel comfortable with us making some of those changes that we just heard from you all and getting this out tomorrow, we can get this ready to go and out either tomorrow or first thing Monday and get that RFP period going.
Do you want to get comments from Jess and Eric through email before you?
If they have something,
Okay.
sure, we can reach out to them and just say if they have anything else to add, let us know. Yep. So we
Yeah, I
can-
would think they would have responded if by now, if they would have had. I mean, he had a long train ride. He had plenty of time to look at it.
Here comes his effort. All righty. So the next item on the agenda is the CHPC budget considerations and structure of merit walking tour postcard. Does staff have a presentation?
Sure. I think the memo kind of speaks for itself. We like to check in every so often with you guys to make sure that we're utilizing the funds that the trustees have allocated. And so again, the first section is really just an overview. As we discussed previously, when we were going after grants, there was about a $30,000 allocation for a study. At the time, it was thought a log cabin survey, but when we got the grant for the OTR design guidelines, we heard from this group to kind of pivot and leverage those funds for the OTR design guidelines to really make that a great process. And then, general purposes about $7,000. And so we haven't really spent anything yet this year. I know you guys have been going out and, trying to solicit a few more people to do the plaques. And so that will consume some budget, but I think those have historically been pretty small dollar amounts per plaque. I know I brought it up in the past and I'll bring it up again. We have funds. And so I think if this commission wants, we could change our approach where if we have a willing property owner, the HPC could consider funding the entirety of the plaque. But that's a decision that you guys could make if you want to. And then the other part is at the last meeting, there was some discussions about doing a kind of a postcard similar to what CPAC has done. And so we talked to a printer, we got some estimates on what a 6x11 and 8.5 by 11 postcard would be for those quantities and included that. And so really, it's just kind of are there certain costs that you guys, or certain dollars or certain directions that you guys want to go on allocating those?
Well, I was
monies?
laying it out in InDesign right now and trying to find a decent map through the ArcGIS online thing
Mhm.
to have it close up in an 8.5 by 11 is really hard. And having like the actual building footprint showing up. And so you can actually put like 1 is this address and 2 is this address.
Mhm.
It's kind of like a tight squeeze on that part. The front would be fine. I mean, right now we only have like 7, I think, pictures because those are those 7 owners that said yes to using the images. So unless we get more people, and then we had like the Thompson House, I think you sent me, Kay. I mean, we only have maybe a total of 8 to 10 pictures we can put on the front with permission.
Mhm.
So we either need more, or do we want to do, like Eric was thinking, the quadrants and just do smaller ones of like, this is this area. And then we can just do the map on the back of these like 10 or 12. Or we could do both.
Mhm.
So I got a question here. What's the purpose of this? It's the walking tour. It sounds to me like the Clio thing. Is that not right? That
Wasn't this Eric's idea?
Yep.
the walking Clio?
This thing,
The
yeah.
postcard.
Oh, I don't know.
So I think from what I can tell, what he was hoping, this is more for the Colorado Archaeology and Historic Preservation Month, which is May. And I think that, I know that he has voiced some motivation to get something at the chamber and maybe just more around. And right now the printed walking tours are like 8.5 by 14. That's pretty large. And I think, CPAC also has these small mailboxes next to all of the art around town sculptures. So they can put some in those. I mean, that may be down the road, but I think that that's what he was sort of envisioning, is that it would be more of not so much. I mean, we could have a link to the Clio walking tours, but it's something that people can pick up and go, oh, here's this is so cool. Here's more information. And
I think it's a great idea,
Go on
but
every day.
that's what I was wondering is how are people getting it? Are they picking it up from those little plexiglass, the little boxes where the art stuff is, or the Third Street. There are a few things that I
You
don't
could
know if
pass
we
it
know the
around
answer
to
to.
like several different places.
Well, that, we need to be able to determine how many we want. And so that's why I was wondering.
I don't know until
How
we
people
figure
do
out
it.
like how many do we want to do, like 25 to 50 at each place or not.
Yeah,
So we can always print more,
sure.
right? I think it's, we have a location here, CPAC has their kind of postcards, if you will, here at Town Hall. But they also have public locations where there's public art that, is available for the mailboxes. I don't know if the homeowners are willing to use their homes for promotional materials and are willing to have a plaque, also want a mailbox and people grabbing postcards on the plaques. That's not a question we've asked anybody yet. And so I think we should probably consider, at least in this early phase, what other kind of public locations is information generally kind of left for people to grab. With the library, with the Third Street Center,
Thompson House for when they had the
Launch
museum
pad.
open.
the top, I think some places that we might have a little more influence on is, could we put some sort of kiosk or mailbox or whatever at the Thompson House or at the Went in 133 cabin.
History Park.
History Park, that was what I was thinking of. So I think that's, probably some of those kind of decisions that need to be made. Also, we just need to make a decision on kind of what the design would be. And I know, Heather, you've been working on some stuff. Ellie kind of worked on, more of a graphical kind of representation of the front of a postcard versus kind of snippets here and there that we can share with you all. And so I think it's just is this something that you guys want to pursue? And yeah, it's Colorado History Month. I don't know if you have what you've.
So we're basically trying to make the public more aware of what we're doing, like with a link to Clio and a link to the plaques and the fact that we're, I'm still kind of lost on what it is these postcards are going to be selling. I mean, what's the, not actually selling, but promoting. What?
That's why it's too bad Eric's not here, because
Yeah.
He's the one that really
I
wanted.
like the idea, though, anything for awareness. One of the reasons I was asking how the people would get them is because if they are grabbing it from the launch pad or someplace, that might determine what size it needs to be, because they do have those little racks all over the place. I wonder if we should shelf this conversation till we have Eric in the middle of it, but I would love to see what Ellie did. Can we see it? Yeah. Okay.
Is it, I don't know, 8.5 by 11, would that be like a 3 folded thing where you got?
Yeah, it's a postcard.
I've got some, okay.
So I was going off of that, but I was gonna do the front a little bit different, like historic Carbondale on there and then structure of merit. I grabbed it like the last week or the week before.
Cool. I've never seen this big one.
And so we would have Colorado Historic Preservation Month up here for the title and show various homes.
Well, I had
Homes on
suggested,
this?
well, I was laying out as historic Carbondale structure of merit. It's kind of a map thing because that's what we wanted, was all the different,
And have a.
map is on the back with all the addresses. And then,
Yeah.
of course, the town logo, historic preservation logo on there.
Well, it's gonna have to be the bigger one to do a map of all of the towns.
Yeah, that's
showing
why it's been
50,
kind of,
50 or 70 locations.
That's why it wasn't working so well for me. I've been sitting around in ArcGIS trying to find one that would work. It's not.
Maybe we should table this until Eric is
That's what I
back.
said. What do you think about that?
So
They-
I think if we table it, which is fine, I think just the message around the postcard should change from Colorado Archaeology and History Month to something more just
I was going with
historic
generic.
preservation awareness and kind of public information, which I think is still fine. It could be used as part of, you know, handouts for OTR outreach and stuff like that. And so I don't think that's critical, but if you want to get something that's focused on History Month, we needed to act
Yeah,
ASAP.
I wonder if Eric would answer his phone right now. I got his number.
I could also just show them on my laptop.
Yeah, that might be easier. The public won't know, all that public watching.
My watch, Jared? Really?
Okay, am I even here?
You declined to be a panelist.
I didn't say anything. All right, join as panelists. There we go. Sorry. Apparently I said no.
Yeah, I have a copy.
It says I'm rejoining. All right, I can share my screen.
Eric's on the phone. Hold on, Jared. Is he on the train?
No, you just
Oh.
pulled into a good spot. Can you hear us? So,
Up to the mics, maybe, I don't know.
yeah. I guess we're wondering
The purpose.
the purpose of these postcards, and are they specific to this month being the May being the, what is it, the historic and
Archaeology and historic.
archaeology month?
No, they're not, no, they should be set up so that they could be used, year round.
Okay,
Just to hand out to tourists and locals that wanna do a walking tour and have no idea that even one exists.
So the purpose is just to have a visual,
Walking tour map.
yeah, I mean, but it's also, I mean, how else do people know about the walking tour? Unless they do
Yeah.
research into it. I mean, having it on the table and just being able to
Yeah.
pick it up seems like.
Right, having them on the table, that table where they, in the lobby of town hall,
Yep,
where they have a couple other information postcards there, one for recycling, I think, one for the art walk.
Yeah. We pretty much already have a map done up for the walking tour.
look at that one. What? This is nice.
Yeah, that's nice, but it's so small.
but it's, I mean,
That's why I was thinking if we do like the different walking tours and just one map for that walking tour, that might be just easier.
Also do a QR code that leads you
To
that-
Cleo too.
To the Clio.
yeah,
I can hear you, Mark. I can't hear anybody else, so.
okay.
We'll talk quieter, Eric.
Did you have an idea about doing them in different precincts?
No, my thought was just, I think the map is most important to show the 4 different quadrants of art walks. Yeah, we don't want to, I wouldn't think we needed to do 4 postcards, but one should be able to cover all 4 walks.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've had them all on one page before, so I think it can just get small, but it works on there.
Yeah, we're discussing the fact that the map could get pretty small even on an 8.5 by 11.
Yeah, there is that issue.
Yeah, that's how the size of the one that we have.
Yeah.
Really, I thought it was 11 by 17.
Maybe.
It's,
Letter sizes, plenty.
Um,
Okay, we've done a walking tour map before. It's not, it's more just a graphical thing as opposed to an outline.
You're right, this big legal.
That's why I was like,
Yeah,
Yeah, like
Kay's
this.
handing out.
so much
But
bigger.
look how giant the print is on it.
Exactly what I'm seeing is,
You guys, do you want to table, is Eric okay with us discussing this at the next meeting?
Are you okay, Eric, discussing this at the next meeting?
sure,
Putting it off 1 month?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if Heather could do a couple different mock-ups, that'd be
Yeah.
helpful, but yes.
Time.
Yeah, it
Next
doesn't
2 weeks.
Yeah, it's-
It doesn't seem like we have the material to fire it off this
Okay.
month,
Yeah,
so,
yeah, absolutely.
okay.
Thanks.
All right, we just wanted to loop you in.
Thanks, Eric.
Okay.
Okay,
carry on.
talk
Thanks
to
for calling.
talk to you later. Bye.
But
What's that?
That's photoshopped of all the different
It's so cool.
um,
Look at our neighborhood.
buildings.
I love it.
I figure in the next
Jessica.
2 weeks, while I'm actually working from home still, I'm gonna actually go around and retake all those pictures for Cleo.
Oh,
Sit there on the
good.
bike. I mean, I'm gonna have to do that in the next 2 weeks. I don't know.
But this is a fun idea to have on the front of the postcard.
So Heather, we can share this with you so you have it
Mhm.
and,
Love it.
play around with how that fits into, some of the layouts you're working on and, it's something to consider, I think, given the maps, I know we have different walking tours. Do we have different postcards for different walking tours?
Yeah, because
Or do
originally
you
when I
really-
created it, it was 4 different quadrants.
Exactly.
And you have to keep in mind, this was my first grade. I don't know how to do this stuff. So you could really make something cool. It doesn't have to.
Well, the
be-
thing is, when I was using the entire town, I was going all the way to Lincoln, that one, that's probably the most north one, I think, on the structure merit, plus the Thompson House.
Yeah.
So
no,
you
don't wanna
using
do that. You
that,
have-
and that's why
that
everything was
has
so
to have its
tiny.
own little-
Yeah,
'Cause we
so if
tried
we
that
cut it
before.
off,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
over
you have to cut
here.
it off and just do this little. But this gives us time to think about it if we table this until the next.
Because the
time. I think
ArcGIS
that's
had so many
fantastic.
actually nicer like backgrounds in there that you can just pull out now.
Yeah, well, and I love that. Where we've got the photograph, those actual postcards.
I'll have a disclaimer that that's not actually where they all are.
Mhm.
It's not just
In,
one.
in the nice
Oh, you mean
field at the base of
this one here?
Cypress.
On the backside. I mean, that's a.
That looks
photo.
like Google Maps.
Yeah, however they did that, that's.
Well, there's different ones, like, there's one like just outline, blueprint.
I did talk to Lori Lindberg, who is the staff liaison for CPAC. And our in-house GIS person did that map. So that might be, I don't know, but the cost for that would come out of
Mhm.
your budget. So
So-
I don't know what his,
So we can, I'll work with him. I just had a meeting with him today, so we can reach out to him and say, how do we create these tours on a map similar to that?
Yeah.
Well, I just had that account because the APA gave us that free ArcGIS account. So I've been playing around with that and trying to find something better.
The problem is a lot of our, as we're learning, a lot of our town data isn't in our online version of ArcGIS. It's on our consultants' physical drives. So there's only certain things that we can do with that. And so, we can at least talk to him and see, either can he get this information to us so we can create and maintain this, or can he create and maintain this for us as a map, or at least create an online map that we can then do. So we'll chat with him about that and see kind of what that cost will
haven't
be
did a
and get back to you guys on
Deep
that.
dive yet, but I saw a background that was just outlines, black and white outlines on that thing. And I was like, I was actually gonna go around when I have time to see if every single building that's on here is actually on it. And maybe we can use that, but just didn't have time this last week.
I like that big photograph. Anyway, do we need to have a motion to move this to the next meeting? Oh, this is great. Easier than planning.
When you said you only had pictures of 7 houses,
Well, that was in the
Structures.
email that Kay gave out of all the people that checkmark, we can use their image for the,
were the rest of them saying no, or
They
were
just
they
never
not
checkmarked
responded?
it.
So let me give you some background. So for the first year of the plaque program, we did not have an application. It was no,
It was a couple of hooligans winging it, trying to
It
get
was,
people
it was
to
just
do
sort
it.
of kind of an ad hoc thing, and it seems like it kind of took. And so when Kelly was here, she said, well, we probably should have an application and formalize this. Because I don't think truthfully, we knew how popular it was going to be. And so last year, we developed the application, and on that application, there is a box that you must check to not have your house's image used in any kind of publication. And so that's where that number of 7 comes from. But there were, I don't know, 8 or 10 from 2022 that we could check with. We just haven't. We just haven't.
Yeah.
Kim has given me email permission, as has Eric.
Yeah.
So those 2 can be added.
yeah, so I
Um,
took those pictures this past week.
And then there's the Thompson House and History Park. So then if you add in the other however many, 6, that's getting close to the maximum that you could fit based on the CPAC postcard. If you're going to do like a design like this, I don't know how that would work. So I think this is a great start. And, if this is all we have for now, hey, I mean, it catches your eye. You don't really have to do any more work and get the mapping on the back with QR codes to the Clio walking tours. And I mean, it doesn't, we don't have to make it too complicated, especially if it's just gonna get, be handed out. I think you want something like this that's gonna catch your eye, and we want to kind of stand out from CPAC, because I mean, that's sort of their thing.
Yeah, that's why I was
I
only
think-
copying the map part. That's the only part I was keeping.
But, I think that if, I mean, it's not up to me, so.
To
just-
me, it would be really interesting to just have this on one side and then that photograph of a map that like you have on the big postcard that's, yeah. And then the little bubbles and the list, and that's that. Okay. Well, it seems like since it was Eric's baby, we should wait, even though we were trying to be Historic Preservation Month people.
We can save it for next year.
Okay.
We really
We
said
can-
2025.
And hope all the houses are still standing.
I kind of like the tabling idea anyway, because we're gonna want to use it year round as opposed to just
Yeah.
this one month and so that'd be good.
Well, all right. The next item on the agenda is staff report. Do we have a report?
Just a couple things that are going on. You guys all received the email. Cam, I think you received it twice about tomorrow evening's boards and commissions open house. So the tree board has a booth, Bike Ped Trail Commission has a booth, and then the town will have a booth, and we have some lovely volunteers who are gonna hang out for a little bit and see if they can't encourage people to sign up for the various openings that we have on our boards and commissions. And
And
so
where will these lovely volunteers be exactly? Is it in the park?
I think it's gonna be along Main, close to Fourth. I haven't,
So we're not in Taco Park, like the tent next to the booth?
it might be. I didn't get confirmation from our Public Works Department yet.
Kevin said it was gonna be in front of the utility, the, whatever Quest or.
Century
Okay,
Link.
okay.
Okay. And will these volunteers have little sign-up sheets?
Yes, so
Okay.
we are producing, we've got kind of information sheets for the various boards and commissions. There'll be a physical sign-up sheet, but also we've got a QR code that those who are more who may not want to sign up on the spot can scan it. It'll take them to a fillable form where they can physically fill out the application right there. They can read more about all the various boards and commissions, or they can just reach out to staff and say, hey, I want a little more information on this board and commission, when it's meeting, or what the time commitment is or obligation or whatever that might be. So we're trying to provide all methods of information for however somebody wants to receive it. And this is kind of the start. We'll be accepting applications through for the majority of May. And then we anticipate having interviews, appointments as necessary in June, whether that's each individual commission's meeting in June or the board of trustees. It just kind of depends on how many people apply and what each board and commission needs to do to appoint people. So we have how many total vacant positions?
I think it was one voting and two alternates.
Oh, just for.
No, I think across
Oh,
across
okay.
the board, I think it's like 1 to
20-ish.
on the various boards and commission. I think it's like one or two for each.
We have a whole
Each
commission
commission.
that needs to be filled. Actually,
Co-
two.
Correct. We have a Latino advisory commission that was set up, but we never actually got anybody appointed to it. So we have this board. So outside of those
Board of Adjustment.
7 and the Board of Adjustments that needs to be reconstituted, which is another 7. So, we have on the regular boards and commissions, we probably have about, 10, 12 positions total, 1 to 2 per.
Gonna redo totally the Board of Adjustments.
Yes, all the terms of the Board of adjustment members had expired right around COVID time, and nobody bothered to reappoint people, and so we have expired terms. We've reached out to those individuals who had previously served to see if they would like to serve again, but but yeah, we need to reconstitute that group of volunteers.
For tomorrow night, so people from each of the different commissions show up and just kind of hang around the same town table, and when someone comes up and wants on this commission, somebody there talks to them, and it's all kind of one big
Yep.
deal.
Yep, or you can stand out in the middle of Main Street and pull people over and
Or
then
you
put a
could
pen in
nudge
their
them over to a
hand and
different commission.
fill their name out for them. You know,
How'd spell
it's
that name?
it's really just we tried this last year. We had an open house here in this room on a Tuesday night, and we didn't get a lot of attendance. And so we're thinking, being at First Friday where people are going to be anyways, help make them aware of it. They don't need to make a decision tomorrow night. Just try to help bring awareness. So if you make a spur of the moment decision, you find yourself down on Main Street and it's 5 o'clock and you want to swing by the booth, I'm sure everyone would be happy to have you.
One of your favorite pals will be there.
So, yeah, I might make it, I might not, I don't know. I'm having a yard sale and I'm getting it all set up tomorrow, and if I get finished with that, I'll show up. Otherwise, you guys come drive by my house on Saturday and spend a lot of money, which I'm giving it to my elderly sister for getting her into an assisted living. So it's a good cause, so bring cash.
This was just a
Okay.
little pitch if you're watching from home. John's garage sale.
You can go to john.com to get further stuff.
John, okay. But yeah, other than that, I think that is probably the big items.
We should have the CLG grant contract the 1st of June.
So when we get that, we'll share that with you guys, and hopefully we can get these things executed and get this project off the ground. And Ellie will take it from there.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Do you guys have anything for us?
I just have a question. I read briefly about a week ago that Polis had signed a bill about ADUs. That if it's not in a homeowners association, that kind of all rules are off. Do you know anything about that?
I do not. I am not aware that, I'm not aware that there's been any legislative action that's been approved on ADUs yet.
Okay.
That, I know that he signed a bill that limited, occupancy limits
Yeah.
Right.
in residential units, but I'm not aware of any that, addressed ADUs.
I thought they pulled,
What's that?
I thought they pulled the 2 bills.
I know there's bills being considered and they're ever in states of flux because I don't think they found the silver bullet to make all parties happy. But I'm not aware that he's signed anything. I could be wrong. I just figured if there was something, CML would likely be letting us know about it. But as far as occupancy limits, that requirement will require the town to update our development code to remove some of the occupancy limits that we have within our development code. I don't anticipate it will change in any way, shape, or form how occupancy occurs in Carbondale. I don't know if Carbondale has ever enforced occupancy limits as defined by our code, so I just don't know if it's gonna move the needle all that much for Carbondale. Probably other communities it will have an impact on, but yeah, that's the only bill that I'm aware of, so.
Anything else? Commissioners?
The plaque program update, did you guys have?
Oh, yeah, I can. So far we have 3 applicants. I'm kind of thinking maybe, I know John has a list of people that he's working on. So maybe through June or July. And then depending on the numbers, we can move those forward. And I think that that will be a good cutoff. So we're able to get them printed and installed before fall weather. It just takes a while to work on verbiage and get the photos and line drawings and all of that. So maybe another 6 weeks of effort and then we'll go from there.
Can you send me the list of the 3 so I could go take the pictures at least?
Yes.
So they would be on the first of the list before I start doing the rest of the Clio tour.
Right. I mean, I can. I'll send you.
Okay, thanks.
So I talked to 4 already, they're considering it. And we're in the process of talking to the Historical Society about the town-owned 3 properties, the jail and the cabin and the museum. And Eric Berlinger says we gotta go through the Historical Society to get their letter of approval, and then it's gotta go to Parks and Rec to get their approval, and then we can move forward on it. So we're moving on those 3, but those are gonna even have more hoops to jump through. So, other than that, I basically got a list of 15, those included, that really should do this. I really am confident they're gonna like to do it. So I'll talk to them. What I've been doing is using the same application from last year. And I just give them a copy of the verbiage out of the survey. I don't give them the whole thing, just the architectural and the historical significance. Tell them that here's what we're gonna start off with. The staff will condense all this. They'll give you, they'll send you a draft of that. You get to edit it, send it back, and we'll get it going. So that's where we're at with that. This application that we kind of made, I'm telling them just to sign it, check a couple of boxes and be ready to write a check. I'll leave the check part out for a while. But all the stuff about the block and numbers and, I don't really see that as that critical for signing up for the plaque. So I hope that's all right, leaving that info out.
I think so.
Because most of them, if I didn't give it to them from the survey, they're gonna have to go back and find their copy of their deed. And that could take years. So that's where we're at with that. And I kind of did a quick survey on how many posts we're gonna need. A lot of these are gonna be mounted on their metal gates and fences out, wood fences. So there's only like 4 or 5 metal or cedar posts we'll need. On the budget that we had here, the 7,000 for general purpose, that's the cost of these things would come out of that fund, is that right? That's plenty, okay. That should cover that, and the installation fees, Eric and I are gonna start charging.
Seems fair.
So anyway, that's where we're at. That's all I got. Are we
I would
ready?
entertain a motion to adjourn.
You second it.
I'm entertaining it.
I move to adjourn.
Did we make a motion
Point of
yet?
order?
think we've adjourned.
Oh, good, okay.